Hey everybody, I'm Brian Lee Davidson Tarka, and I make Bible videos. I usually read them every day now. Uh, it's it's something that's good for my heart, and I think my family likes it too. My right now I'm reading through the book of Matthew, chapter 5, and we're going to be talking about the fulfillment of the law. Jesus is giving the Sermon on the Mount, the famous Sermon on the Mount right now. So let's take a look at that. This is verses 17 through 20, Matthew chapter 5. Let's start. The fulfillment of the law. Do not think that I have come to abolish the law or the prophets. I have not come to abolish them, but fulfill them. See, this is something that he would be accused of by other teachers that that were very strongly authoritarianism, or very strongly authoritarian. So let's continue. Verse 18: For truly I tell you, until heaven and earth disappear, not the smallest letter, nor the least stroke of the pen, will by any means disappear from the law until everything is accomplished. Therefore, anyone who sets aside one of the least of these commandments and teaches others accordingly will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. Let's read that one again. Therefore, anyone who sets aside one of the least of these commands and teaches others accordingly will be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whoever practices and teaches these commands will be called great in the kingdom of heaven. So what do we say to that? It's what do we say to this when we see people who are supposed to be in leadership positions kind of throw things aside? Christians following these leaders, promoting these leaders, not caring about things in regards to, say, greed or humanity or violence. What do we think of that? I mean, there's a lot of people who don't give a second thought to any number of forms of violence, but they'll just say, well, that's politics, not religion. And we do that in our own lives when we make excuses for wrong. We put things aside. We're told that we need to look after the orphans, the widows, and the foreigners. I've had people I love very dearly tell me, it's like, oh, but that's Old Testament. It's like, it's Old Testament is what Christ is referring to here. Christ is going back to the Old Testament with this. He's being reverent to the Old Testament. He's the fulfillment of the Old Testament, as he just stated here. But let's continue to the last verse. For I tell you that unless your righteousness surpasses that of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, you will certainly not enter the kingdom of the heaven. Okay, so how did this hit the audience at the time? He has this audience around them, and he's like, wait. I have to be as good as the really, really religious people? As the people who society says they're the good ones. You are the good ones. You're so good institutionally that I don't have to be as good, which is another problem we have in churches. It's the idea that somebody needs to be good for us is another issue that might be popping up here. The Pharisees and the teachers of the law. So these are the people who are supposed to be like, oh well, they're definitely going to heaven. You know, if people think I might be going to heaven, but those religious people who know the God stuff, those are the people who are really going to heaven. Nah. Christ is saying you have to be better than them. That would mean that they have to be better than them. Not just the people listening, but the Pharisees and the teachers of the law. They have to be better than they are. I can imagine that this is one of the many things that got them really, really upset. But this goes back to something that he hinted in earlier in this passage that I just read, this short passage of scripture, that he did not come to abolish the laws, but fulfill them. So, being the fulfillment of the law, he pays the price on the cross, forgives the sins of the world, and humanity, Christians, are restored to God. What is broken has been healed. What there are laws against, places where we have broken the laws, Christ brought us out of that. So this is one of the reasons why we Christians can be very, very excited when, despite the fact we know that we are not good enough to get into heaven, but it's through Christ that we are able to be there. Some people think I'm an alright Christian. Thank you for that, to those people. But if I do right things, I'm thankful that God allows me to do right things. But it's really through Jesus that I have this relationship that's going to continue eternally. It's not about what I can do to get myself into heaven. It's about what Christ already did to bring me to heaven. And because of that, I get to celebrate that now, because it's in my life now. And I get to celebrate God in my life eternally after this, after I'm in His presence. So there's a lot of confidence in that. There's a lot of certainty. There's a foundational truth there that we have as Christians that we do keep coming back to. I think globally, the most noted celebration of that is usually during Easter, whether you're celebrating on the Orthodox or Catholic calendar. That's usually the most noteworthy calendar celebration of it. But really, Christians are kind of built to celebrate Christmas and Easter all the time, in a way. He's celebrating the life of Christ, celebrating the resurrection of Christ. We're made to be living that celebration, and that's part of how that's kind of the engine behind our worship, our living worship. Okay, you guys take care. I hope you like this video. Like, share, subscribe, all those other things that we say on YouTube channels. Let's see, in the links below, if you are looking for a Bible in America, I have some Amazon links down there, digital and physical. So feel free to check those out. If you're somewhere outside of America, please look at Bible Gateway. That's where I read the Bible from my tablet. It's a great link, and that allows you to look up a variety of biblical translations, whether it's phrase by phrase translation, paraphrase translation, or a or word for word translation. You know, depending on what hits you. Some are done at a more some are done at language levels that are easier to comprehend. When I'm reading in an international Bible study, usually I use the contemporary English version. We found that it's very easy to communicate uh, with when you're talking to a multicultural audience. So yeah, my top three tend to be the New International Version, which is a phrase by phrase translation, the English Standard Version, which is a word by word translation, and another phrase by phrase translation that uses a an easier form of English is the contemporary English version, which I really like as well. So those are my top three. You guys take care. I am going to wave because I found that when I wave, there's at least one decent picture at the end of the film. So this is me waving goodbye. I love you guys. Take care. Keep holding on to Scripture. Remember, we're all made in the image of God. You know, God had His hands on us when He sculpted us the way that we're supposed to be. I love the saying, He loves us just how we are, but He loves us too much to let us stay this way. You guys take care. Bye bye.